Hey there, Bremerton. Josh Farley with the Kitsap Sun at the Olympic College's brand new $46.5 million College Instruction Center. Behind me is the 4,200 square foot Sky Space art installation by Seattle artist Sherry Gamble. I'm going to tell you a little more about that, plus my usual 5 stories that you just got to know about happening in Bremerton this week.
I've been reminiscing of those times when I was yours and you were mine.
Welcome back to this edition of the Bremerton Beat Blast, sponsored by the Admiral Theater. Story number 1 today. It may be a rainy January, but we've got lots of paving in store just around the corner throughout the Kitsap Peninsula. The biggest project this year will be a repaving of Highway 16 between the Kitsap County line and Gorst at a cost of $1.4 million. Look for that project to get started this summer. The state DOT is also studying the idea of a 3rd lane between Highway 304, otherwise known as the Navy Yard Highway, and Gorst going southbound. But there's no funding yet for such a project. Elsewhere in the community, Tremont and Port Orchard will be getting roundabouts and wider streets and sidewalks. Bremerton will be adding high-friction pavement and guardrail to Tracyton Beach and Old Belfair Highway. And Kitsap County has a variety of repaving projects taking place this summer. For a full list, check out my show notes at the Bremerton Beat blog at kitsapsun.com. Story number 2 today. Darryl Riley threw his hat in the ring to be appointed to the Bremerton City Council earlier this January. Though he did not win the position, he was proud to even raise issues from his past, which include several felonies. However, he was told by a Bremerton City Council member he could not run due to his felony criminal history, but he persevered, and the City Attorney's Office ultimately ruled that he in fact can run for office. Riley plans on running for the position of District 4 Council member in 2019.
When you're on the City Council, you serve on the City Council. You know, and that, to me, that means that you have to have a servant's heart. I believe I do have a servant's heart. I think as long as I do the job satisfactorily, then my background will be a huge asset. Not only would it inspire people who are in prison now, but the children of people who are in prison, who could see somebody coming out of prison trying to get their mind right and be of value to the city and to the citizens, would get a huge boost from that.
Story number 3 today. This past year, we've seen countless women come forward with their own stories of sexual violence and harassment. Enter Robin Carson, who believes that it's time to have this conversation at a local level. At 6 p.m. on Wednesday night at the Cloverleaf Tavern, you'll be able to come and hear stories as well as share your own.
It's a way for us to come together to support each other in this community, which is something that hasn't happened. As a woman, I have talked to other females for years, and there's almost no one I've ever encountered who hasn't had some kind of story about sexual assault or harassment, and women are feeling empowered now to come out.
Story number 4 today. It's been a very wet and wild January here on the Kitsap Peninsula. But last Thursday in Bremerton bore a dubious distinction. There were 12 crashes inside a city in which sometimes days go by without a single one. So what happened in all of those crashes, and what can we do about them?
We had some rain and wet roads, but no more than typical for a January day. 6 of them were all driver error, either failing to yield, falling too close, improper lane usage, things of that. 2 of them were reckless drivers who were intoxicated and subsequently arrested. 1 was a pedestrian violation. People routinely follow too close, or they fail to yield because they're in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry, drive carefully, and be aware of your surroundings.
And finally, story number 5 today. Since 1963, Holly Ridge Center off of Taylor Road has been helping children and adults alike get through life a little bit easier with their respective disabilities. But Holly Ridge is bursting at the seams. And now, with a new building that the center is readying to purchase, combined with a capital campaign, they will be able to grow into a new space off of Kitsap Way.
We are super excited because this is going to become one of the new homes of Holly Ridge Center. Acquisition and renovation of this building is going to enable us to expand and provide programming based on the growing community need. Right now, we are really at the maximum of our ability to deliver and confined by space. And so when we are moving into this building, we're going to be able to serve more of our infant toddler population as well as expand our adult employment services.
That's our show for today, but I do want to note that we have some exciting news. Our next Kitsap Sun Story Walk will be taking place at 1 p.m. February 10th inside the Kitsap County Coroner's Office and our 911 Dispatch Center. We did this walk a couple of years ago, and it's back by popular demand, so people can see the insides of what our coroners and our dispatchers do on a day-to-day basis. And also, you might want to come and check out Sky Space, the amazing new piece of art by Seattle artist Sherry Gamble. Took about 6 weeks to create. She went up and down monkey bar scaffolding to make it possible, and she was along for the ride at the Kitsap Sun's Story Walk last weekend. Thank you for everyone who attended. See you next week. Music for this week's Bremerton Beat Blast was by up-and-coming artist Gia Acosta. Acosta you can see live at 7:30 p.m. this Saturday at Dog Days Brewery.
Smile when I'm looking back on our memories. You are my heart, you are my home, it's not the end. 'Cause without my heart, without my